The situation. Most airlines recognize the Boeing 737 as the leading aircraft for both large cargo and passenger use in 2019. The widespread use of the aircraft, and especially its earlier versions, was the main reason for its absorption in the market after its release. Following the two massive crashes of the aircraft that led to a mass loss of life, this led to investigations that indicated that Boeing had failed to inform the operators about the new features of its newest plane model. In recent developments, an autopilot system that engaged during takeoff was prone to error, and most pilots didn't have the information. The situation. Most airlines recognize the Boeing 737. The problem. Due to the loss of trust with the pilots, the company's most popular models in which they had heavily invested in became grounded. Airlines were forced to cancel flights and remove destinations from service while they waited for a fix. The handling of the situation by the company's PR team amplified the problem since it was unsatisfactory to many consumers, despite the aircraft being one of the most important in its operations. The company's CEO was partly blamed for insisting to the president and the others that the aircraft was safe, and suggested that the problem could be easily solved through pilot training to override the automatic controls. Taking the matter lightly resulted to the PR crisis, as it was portrayed as a tone-deaf response to the consumers' concerns. Critical factors. Problems are normal occurrences in business operations, but preventing them from turning into crisis is a function of management and especially the PR team. The company did not give the issue the right attention or approach it with the right attitude, despite being an important part of their business. Also, the severity of the damage and the potential impact to the consumers. The fact that the company failed to inform the pilots concerning the autopilot hitch makes the problem worse. The suggested solution to the problem by the company's CEO also indicated an unconcerned approach to the problem, which was received by the consumers negatively. Possible solutions. The solution to the problem would be admitting to technical problems and grounding the airplanes to investigate the causes of the crash. The lack of transparency regarding the planes could be rectified by an issue of a more robust manual which explains the possible negative effects of the autopilot, or an advisory of not to use it during takeoff and landings. The company would also engage the public in the process of developing a solution to the problem at hand to show that their concerns are for the public's safety. Covering various tests and trials to the airplane is also one of the ways that the company can regain the consumer's trust on the use of the airplane in the future. The recommended solution. The current problem is on the regaining of the consumer's trust when the planes are back in operation based on the earlier handlings of the situation by the company. Transparency is the most vital element of the company and has to ensure that when relaunching the product, and it should strive to engage the consumers in the redevelopment of the product. Boeing should also invite the pilots who interacted with the plane before it was grounded to provide new suggestions on ways in which it can improve the safety of the users. Public relation campaigns should also be established to promote the company and develop public trust with time before the relaunch of the Boeing 737 MAX. Reasons for recommendation. The recommendation is developed based on the current situation facing the company on the public relations crisis. The root cause is the lack of transparency from the company and the failure to listen to the public's concerns regarding the product. The company has to develop ways to improve on its transparency regarding the development of their products to build trust with the aviators and the passengers. In such an industry, the company should ensure that the safety of the passengers is always given the first priority, even with its other products. It is therefore important for the company to commit on their public safety, which is breached with the initial product. Actions required. Press release admitting to the technical hitch with the planes would ease the tensions among consumers. The company should also use the PR tactics such as the social media, blog posts, and paid advertising and promoting the brand image again as a changed company in issues relating to transparency. Involving the aviators and the global regulators in redevelopment of the plane towards making it safer to fly in the future is also necessary to regain their trust. And developing a transparent strategy and product development, which includes all the participants, is necessary for the confidence of the consumers. The situation. Most airlines recognize the Boeing 737 as the leading aircraft for both large cargo and passenger use in 2019. The widespread use of the aircraft, and especially its earlier versions, was the main reason for its absorption in the market after its release. Following the two massive crashes of the aircraft that led to a mass loss of life, this led to investigations that indicated that Boeing had failed to inform the operators about the new features of its newest plane model. In recent developments, an autopilot system that engaged during takeoff was prone to error, and most pilots didn't have the information. The situation. Most airlines recognize the Boeing 737